I am so sick of the Epstein story, but mostly because I've been telling the American public and the world, you're not going to find anything out in the Epstein story. And not only that, you got the wrong story. You're missing the point. Not you. When I say you, by the way, don't think I'm talking about you. I'm not trying to embarrass you or insult you. But everybody, I don't understand what this is. What do you think? What are they going to do? What do you think? They're going to show you films? No. Whatever information they have has been destroyed decades ago, years ago. What are you talking about? There is no there's no evidence. It's just logs. This is the part which is the most important thing in the world. This is a limited hangout. This is a limited hangout. This is the presentation of a portion of the information so that you will think, okay, this is it, and then be on your merry way. No. The issue is, who was it? This is what nobody's talking about. Which country did he work for? What Middle Eastern country, as Don Bongino would say, what Middle Eastern country did he work for? He was a spook for which country? In our country, setting up theoretically our America on our soil, among other places, to do extortion work and honeypot work for which country? He didn't do it for himself. You know the answer. You know for years. And when you mention it, if I say Les Wexner, Ehud Barak, Epstein, Alan Dershowitz, not that each of these people, with the exception of Epstein, but not that they're involved directly in this, but how is it that people have said, do you think that maybe Israeli intel may have had something to do with it? Since we have so many people who are proud, I don't want to say citizens, but supporters of Israel, and quit being so afraid of the word Israel. I don't understand it. I'm not anti-Semitic. If Epstein's name was Jean Dumont, and he was hanging around the French head of security, Gideon Dubon, and Guy Lafarge, and you would say, hey, there's a French connection, Gina. But no, not here. I don't know. You people think that somehow he got his freak on by doing that? Come on. That's the first thing. And number two is they killed him. I don't know why anybody's even saying it's homicide. Now, who was it? We don't know. But he's in federal custody. America was promised this bombshell of the century. A full expose of Jeffrey Epstein's clients and associates and secret connections to the most powerful elites on earth. What are you kidding me? I kept telling you, you're not gonna, this is old. This ain't going anywhere. And what did we get? Nothing. And you're not gonna get anything. A pile of meaningless airplane logs? Oh, Mick Jagger, Ray Fiennes, Ethel Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy. What? Names that have already been leaked for years, and zero real revelations about the truth that actually matters. Why? Because this wasn't a document drop. It was a limited hangout. This is I don't even know why am I even bothering with this? I sound like a broken record. What is a limited hangout? The oldest trick in the cover-up playbook. For those who don't know, let me bring you up to speed, friends, all you intel folks. A limited hangout is a classic intel community tactic where a government agency or a secret cabal or a conspiracy or whatever you want to call it releases a small, controlled amount of information, just enough to make it look like there's transparency, while keeping the real dirt hidden forever. Instead of admitting the full truth, they strategically leak harmless or already known details to make people think they're getting the full story. This is how FBI, CIA, other intel agencies have been operating since the beginning of time. Nixon in the White House tape was calling he wanted to do a variant of the limited hangout, or of a limited hangout. I mean, he talks about, everybody knows this. This is what we know. This is what is done. This is how it's done. This is what is the truth. I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say this anymore. I don't know what people are saying. Now, I would have never done any of this. I have this on my desk. I'm going to release this. It looks like there's internecine battle between Bondi and Patel. And maybe, no. Don't announce anything. And if you do announce something, make sure you always say ahead of time, okay, Cash, you got it? Yeah. You got it? We all set to go? What do we have? What do we have here? What's this story? And as far as turning the evidence over to MAGA influencers, I kind of in a weird way like that, oddly enough. And the reason why, oddly enough, is because it's how do I say this? Because it's interesting because it gives us credence. It announces to the world there's a new group of people out there. There's a new group, a new focus, a new media. So I like that. But this is a limited hangout. And where are the real files? The files? What do you want? Do you want to have... Okay, let's assume. I'm not saying it, but I'll give you Bill Gates. Okay, Bill Gates likes them young. And what? Do you think you're going to get a picture of something? And do you think you're going to blackmail him? Okay, Bill, you better give us this Doge money and I don't know whatever pressure, or you better use your systems to initiate wormholes in Chinese. What leverage are you going to get? Plus, whenever a dalliance or a moment occurs, the information is culled, grabbed, collated immediately. They're not sitting around in a box. Hey, here's a thumb drive. Oh, look at this. There's a good one. Lolita Express. Oh, we got Bill Clinton's on this one. This is gone. So where are these files and who got rid of the evidence? Let's get real. Jeffrey Epstein was dispatched. The official story of his so-called suicide is the biggest joke in American history. Michael Baden, the esteemed forensic pathologist that Fox News has on whenever they ask him questions about something he knows nothing about. They were asking him questions about Gene Hackman. And nobody knew anything. And Michael Baden said, I don't know. Well, could it be carbon monoxide? Well, it could be. And then when they say, okay, have him on to talk about what appeared to be a homicide, or homicide, as he says, Fox News has no interest in that whatsoever because that goes against the narrative. The official story is that it's not, gotta watch these algorithms, self-harm, okay? And Bill Barr said that. Bill Barr, whose father was what? The headmaster of Dalton, where, and by the way, there's a subsidiary story. Where did this Epstein come from? I live in a city with more billionaires per square inch, and you can imagine. I know, but billionaires, they're not that rare. And the financial folks, the ones who work on the street, the Wall Streeters, They know every hedge funder, everybody. They always said, who the hell is this guy? Les Wexner created him. It's a joke. That's the story. That's the story. Let me give you a side. I'm going to give you just an analogy. I'll never forget this. I came out of we had a bar one day years ago, and there was this family, obviously from out of town, I think in New York for the first time, and they were taking pictures of buildings, just taking pictures. People do that. They take pictures of buildings. Across the street, as they were taking pictures of a building, there was a guy dressed, so help me God, I should go blind if I'm lying. A guy who was walking around dressed as Jesus. He had a cardboard, like a cross, and a pail. I don't know what the pail was, but he kind of looked like Jesus. And he had a cross, like a full-size cross, but it was cardboard, very light. And I said to these folks, I said, excuse me, pardon me. I said, I couldn't. You're from out of town. Yes? Great. I said, I noticed you're taking pictures of buildings. I said, as a New Yorker, may I tell you something? That's what you want to pay attention to. That. And they looked, and there's Jesus. I said, they're thinking, how did we miss this? Because you're looking over here. That's what everybody's doing regarding Epstein. They're looking at the, you've been told that there's going to be this list of the clients in the Ghislaine's black book, and that's nothing. You act like this guy's Mengele or something. He had people. We'll get to this in a moment. 2 guards fell asleep at the time. Cameras malfunctioned. Epstein broke his neck, hyoid bone, thyroid cartilage, in a way that any forensic expert said was impossible for a mere ligature suspension. The most high-profile prisoner in the country was left alone long enough to be continued conveniently by his, maybe a cellmate. Did you see Tartaglione? Did you see? I've been screaming this for so long. I'm so tired of it. Give us a break. The biggest question is, why was he? That's the story. The real story. The real story. What well-known Middle Eastern country perhaps used him, as has been the case forever? Why are we pretending it's like we're at the kids' table and we're spelling? Well, little Samantha went to the DOCTOR, and the kid always says, Doctor, I know what you're spelling. Forget the logs. Forget Prince Andrew and his embarrassing scandals. The real Epstein story has nothing to do with the billionaire playboys and washed-up royalty. That's the circus act they want you to focus on. Talk about bread and circuses. The real issue is his deep ties to intel networks, espionage, blackmail, honeypots, extortion. And there's countries, ours included, perhaps a working concept. This was an intel operation. And we don't talk about that because that's a conspiracy theory. What are you talking about? And by the way, folks, I got news for you. Excuse me, the USAID is over. These rat bastards had no problems in telling you that there was Russian collusion when there wasn't. They were the most labyrinthine skull and cloak and dagger when it comes to Putin and Trump, and yet when it comes to real, blatant, actual cases of legitimate, honest to God track record intel, they don't have anything to do with it. Not interested in that. No, this is about this freaky guy who on his own decides, I'm going to take people. And all of the USAID people, now that their money's been cut off, you're going to see the news organizations just collapse. They're not going to be talked about anymore. I don't understand this. I do not understand what it is. If ever there has been anybody who has been I know some of my friends get very upset with this, but the country, the state of Israel, I've been twice. Beautiful people, beautiful land. You should see this. The government, Netanyahu, another story. But the people, anti-Semitic, never. I live in New York. I have been immersed. My friends, my Judy, what are you talking about? It's ridiculous. It's like suggesting if I don't know what it is. It's as though it's like friends of mine who have very strong feelings about the Vatican are not necessarily anti-Catholic. Does that make any sense? Is that an analogy? I can't even tell anymore. This is the most... Americans and our media are too childish, too immature to understand, to ask the real questions. People could not have afforded to let this man testify. They could not afford to let him expose what he really did, whom he worked for, what he did, why he was doing this. The story of how he was created out of nowhere. Oh yeah, the Zuckerbergs and the Dorseys and these people, these storylines, the Bill Gateses, how In-Q-Tel and DARPA came along with big tech and they created these nerds and these great. It's so entailed. They have a story. They have a background. And when I tell people this, they go, "Oh, you're getting your cloak and dagger. You're spy versus spy." But yet, these same people, when it comes to Putin and Trump, oh, there's no espionage too great for them. It's selective. They couldn't afford to let this guy speak. They could, and the best part is, here's another thing which nobody's going to, and you're not going to find this in the file. They could have dispatched him so easily, before you would have just never seen him. Never. He would have just been gone. He would have just been gone. He flew into Teterboro in Jersey. He could have just, one day they said, Jeffrey Epstein has been missing. Who? Jeffrey Epstein. Who's Jeffrey Epstein? Ghislaine Maxwell. Who? Her father, Robert Maxwell. Who? Mossad. Who? Nobody would have cared. Sound like a bunch of owls. It would have been easy. But they wanted him in front of you to let you know, wherever you go, we can get you. And we don't care. Because at the time, remember USAID, we own everything. We own MSNBC. We own CNN. We own everything. And just like that, Epstein is dispatched, the files are scrubbed, and now we get this pathetic limited hangout, this nonsense to distract us. Nobody knows where we don't even know the evidence that was even seen. We haven't even seen, and one thing, one file I like to see revealed is the inventory from the search warrant. I mean, this is the biggest waste of time in history. Think about this. The real names weren't released. The real financial records were scrubbed. The real blackmail evidence was destroyed. The real surface or surveillance footage was disappeared. And what do you have now? You've got logs. And the best part too, I'm sorry to say this, and I love our how do I say this? I love our new media folks, but they're kind of being used. Here you go. Stand up in front of everybody. Here we go. Here's your binder. Yeah, they got me. And I love DC Drain, all these wonderful people. Probiotic or whatever his name is. Yeah, look at me. It's like the Watergate files. I am somebody. I'm at the freaking White House. They gave this to me. Look, I'm somebody. Go ahead and read it. What is it? Read it. These are flight logs. Good. Here, I got some old Eastern Airlines. Meanwhile, meaningless celebrity names, washed up politicians who had already been exposed years ago, and a media narrative that makes sure the deeper questions are never asked. And the question that nobody's going to be allowed to ask, why was Epstein's New York townhouse filled with surveillance cameras? When was it? Everything he did was a recording studio. Who really funded the operation? Why were intel agencies so deeply involved with him? What happened to Epstein's personal video archives? What secrets about world leaders did Epstein hold that were too dangerous to reveal? These are the real questions, not the black book. Ghislaine Maxwell is laughing her ass off. Some people think it's not really Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't want to go that far. They said, listen, do me a favor. You're still young, do a couple of years. We got your money in a Cayman Islands account. Here's the number. Just go. You see, the people who orchestrated this limited hangout, didn't just want to protect random billionaires. They wanted to protect a system. Epstein was the key to understanding how powerful elites are controlled and blackmailed and manipulated by intel agencies. He wasn't just a pervert billionaire. He was an intelligent asset running a global blackmail ring under the tutelage and instruction of other people. And when that became too dangerous, and the media are in on it. The same corporate media that pushed fake stories about Russian collusion and censored real news about Hunter Biden's laptop and real news about Biden being out of his mind is now telling you to move along. There's nothing to see here, nothing to see here. They're not journalists, they're gatekeepers. You know this. And that's why they're calling anyone who questions the Epstein files a conspiracy theorist. The word doesn't even mean anything anymore. It doesn't resonate. It's like we can't hear that frequency. They don't want you asking any questions. They don't want you connecting the dots. And I don't. Listen, I love this president, and I think it is so great. And I'm not in the position of being too what's the word? I'm not trying to be too critical of him, but I will tell you, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, who is giving you advice? They don't want you to realize that Epstein was a rogue predator. He was part of a system designed to control the powerful through sexual blackmail. And listen, the biggest cover-up in story is what we're talking about here. This fake Epstein reveal was nothing about the truth. It was about a limited hangout. And it was designed to give just enough information to shut them up. Protect the real power players being hidden here, behind the Epstein operation, keeping the biggest secrets buried forever. And guess what? The American people aren't buying it. We know his death wasn't a self-harm. We know the flight logs mean nothing compared to the missing evidence. We know that this was a coordinated operation to silence a major intel asset. So where do we go from here? Okay. First of all, the battle isn't over. If this pathetic document dump proved anything, it's that the truth is still being suppressed. And the media want us to forget. The government wants us to stop asking questions. The government wants to appear that it's involved in letting all this stuff know, but not really. The elites want this buried, but we won't let this happen. This is not the end of the Epstein story. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. The release of flight logs and contact lists has unveiled associations with high-profile people across various sectors, notable figures, by the way. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Clinton undertook multiple international trips. Trump is documented to have flown, I think, on the plane maybe a couple of times. Royalty, Prince Andrew, other royals as well. Michael Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Alec Baldwin, Ray Fiennes, Mick Jagger. I think Ethel Waters, Ethel Kennedy, I think. Naomi Campbell. It's crucial to understand that inclusion in these logs and contact lists does not imply involvement in any illegal activities. And many individuals have stated that their interactions with Epstein were purely social or related to philanthropic adventures and endeavors. The recent document releases have not introduced significant new information to have reiterated anything. So what I'm telling you is ask the right questions. appreciate the excitement people have, but listen to me. I'm telling you. It's like I told those people. Don't look there. Look at the guy dressed as Jesus. That's the issue, not flight logs. Does that make sense to you? Good. Now do me a favor, okay? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please, I want to hear what you have to say. What are your questions? You're not stupid. You're not falling for this. Tell me what you think. And comment as you see fit.